Hi there and welcome and good evening. You're on my channel. This is Esther at Stampin Star Creations. Thank you so much if you are joining me live for my stamping tonight. And if you're not, and if you're catching this on replay, you're most welcome. Thank you so much for watching along. It's always good to know that people out there are watching and being inspired, hopefully, to get creating with stamps. So tonight the aim is to stamp a wreath on a 12 by 12 inch piece of plain scrapbook paper and transform it into a floral wreath. Now this is not my original idea. This comes from my sister, who is at Artful Stampin', and you can check out her channel, her wreaths that she's done. And I'm going to be using a stamp set called Pretty Perennials. So it's a great beginner stamp set, great for all kinds of crafters, but particularly beginners. If you're trying to start it with stamping, then this could be the one for you. So in a minute, I'm going to get started and get you turned around and show you what colours we're doing. So I was inspired by spring and something pastel. So I'm going to be using what's called some of the subtles colours from Stampin' Up. So I'm going to turn you over. Good morning, Carol. Nice to see you. I'm going to try and give you as much a view as possible. Just get my other device ready. Okay, great. I've got the sound off this week. And I've already gone ahead and put my stamps onto blocks. I had a quick trial earlier to see how this would come out. So here's the stamp set that I'm planning to use, Pretty Perennials. And our colour palette, like I said, very spring-like colours. We've got pinks, yellows, greens and blue. I'll just show you that now before we get started. So this top one's a bit faded. This is a petal pink. Then I've got Blushing Bride, So Saffron, Soft Seafoam, Pear Pizzazz, and Pool Party. Now, when I did my practice stamping, they seem to come out quite dark. And you've got to remember that when these inks dry, they do tend to soften. The colours soften and tend to be a little bit more realistic in terms of how they look. So I'm just trying to change my settings as usual because it always comes out a little bit blurry. That's better. Right. Okay. So Pretty Perennials. Now, if you are stamping a big wreath like this, I'm not going to draw a circle, but if you feel more comfortable drawing a pencil circle, then by all means. I think I need to turn this over. Yes, I had some smudges from before. I'm not going to use a circle. I'm just going to eyeball it. So, but if you want to attempt this and not feeling brave enough, one, you can use a pencil outline of a circle, maybe draw around a dinner plate. The other thing that you can do is to cut your sheet down in size. Sorry, I'm not getting your comments up on my other screen, which isn't very helpful. So one of my teamies suggested that if you cut it down to a 8 by 8 or even 6 by 6, but 6 by 6 is quite small, then it's a good size. Aha, found you. It's a good size to work with if you feel intimidated by having a whole sheet. Wow, good morning from Australia. What time is it in Australia at the moment? Bundaberg, Australia. Right, welcome everyone. I've got a quick hello and I'm going to get really stuck in. Hi there, Mindy, Carol, Rosie. Nice to see you. Wendy, Levine, Ellie, Jan, Shirley. Hi, Shirley, Beverly. Hey, Linda. Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Welcome to Zari. Is this your first time, Zari? And hi there, Pam. So I'm going to start with the biggest flower first. This is the easiest way to go. Decide what colours you want to use on each stamp. And with wreath stamping, you want it to look as organic as possible. I like using that word, organic. So when we're doing a wreath, we're just going to roughly lay down some flower shapes. And I'm going to try and keep turning my stamp as I go. Some are going to have one, some are going to have two flowers. They're all going to be slightly different so that it's all different. You've just caught me live. How exciting. Please give a very warm welcome to Zari. It's so lovely to have you with us. Let us know if you're a crafter. Now, one thing I would say is this particular colour is a new ink, so it's quite juicy. And I've got something obviously bumpy underneath my table because I thought I'd removed any bumps and lumps and bumps, but I'm just going to go in again and do that like so. Welcome, Janice. Nice to see you. So already that kind of takes the intimidation of a whole white piece of paper away. And I'm going to go in with my next colour and my next size down. Okay, so this is what's it called? Petal Pink. Oh, you're an avid crafter. Great. And I'm going to start filling in some gaps. Now, don't feel that you've got to fill in absolutely every gap at this stage. Oh, Mindy. Oh, you sweetheart. Thank you so much. And when you're doing a wreath particularly, all these sheets where you stamp whole sheets, sometimes known as a one-sheet wonder, second and third generation are quite useful because they just create that depth to your picture. Now, the other joy of this stamp set is that it fills out quite a lot of space. They're nice, big, bold flowers, so they are going to fill out the space quite quickly. So if you're thinking of doing a nice big wreath and you're not quite sure where to start or a bit intimidated by it, then something like with this, lots of flowers and bigger images that you don't have to colour in is a great way to go. So we've done our large one, we've done our medium one, and I'm going to keep going down in size, and this time I'm going to use the smallest one. And I fancied some little blue flowers. Now these you can start clustering up to make them give the impression of a bigger flower. Now again, don't feel that you've got to stamp in the same place, as in, oh, if I put one there I'm going to have to put one there. You know, you can just group them together. I'm just going to have an odd one there, maybe stick one in there. And then it's important also just to step back from your work and think, right, well, how does it look? Where do I need to maybe work on adding a bit more? Is there space that I've not put any in? Is it still looking like a circle? Now, if I step back and look at my screen, I can see in this corner here, there's quite a lot of space. Sorry if I'm missing comments, they're sort of coming and going on my screen. So I'm going to come back in here and add a bit more. I quite like the fact that it's becoming quite circular. I have got gaps, but remember, this is not the finished article. So we can always come back to our colours and our stamping, but I do want to add in some yellow. So I'm just going to have a swig of tea. Did Linda say she was mopping her floor? Now, I quite fancied these bold, blobby yellow ones. Linda, Jan's on a break from mopping her floor, and Linda's working on the one-sheet wonder. So these blobby ones, in this whole stamp set, you have got stems and bits that join together and outlines, but just read what Ellie's written. So don't feel that you've got to strictly use them together. Now this has got a nice curvy shape on it, so it really means I can tuck it in places where I want it to go. Now let's just address what Ellie's just said. She said, I struggle with random. I tend to get hung up on symmetry. Now I think when you're doing something floral like this, a way to get away from symmetry is to just keep turning that stamp and let your fingers flow and let your hands do the stamping and not your brain. Think like a child, stamp like a child. Not quite, but you get the idea. We somewhere along the line lose that freedom to just let go a bit. And with something like a wreath or a one-sheet wonder, it can be quite forgiving. It can take a bit of practice, but it can be quite forgiving to stamp a bit more randomly. And a way to do that is just to keep ever so slightly turning your stamp as you go. That could be dangerous, says Ellie. Okay, now while I've got my yellow out, I'm going to introduce, oh, shall I? Shan't I? Let's have a look. No, I won't. I'm going to stick to my original plan so that I can talk you through the process in case you're interested. So we've laid down our lovely flowers. Hopefully you can see that. In fact, I might just draw you in a bit at an angle. So now that we've got the flowers, it's always nice with flowers to add some foliage because flowers rarely come by themselves. Now, same again, some of the leaves might have one sticking out, some of them might have two, and we're going to go on the inside and the outside, but we're going to try and not be too symmetrical, Esther. We're going to try and mix it up a bit. Now, this is the bigger leaf out of the set, and there is a smaller one that I will add on in a sec, but this just helps to break up the foliage, add a bit of colour to it and a bit of greenery. It just breaks up that starkness of the bright pinks of the flowers. Now this is probably about the third wreath I've done. I've not done many in my time, but it's amazing how much you learn as you do it, and how much you pick it up as you go along. So while we're on the leaves, I'm going to go down to the smaller one, and this is Pear Pizzazz, and now I'm going to use this as a filler stamp. So this is going to start filling any of those tricky gaps that we weren't sure about before. Now you can work your way around what's the word, systematically, that's a good word, so that you kind of make sure that everywhere has got a bit of coverage. Let me just draw you out again. Oh. Just trying to make sure that you can see my whole paper. And like I said, with this particular stamp set, you don't have to worry about colouring in the flowers and doing lots of detail. You can just, and you know, if you make a little mistake, it doesn't matter too much. It kind of gets hidden amongst the flowers, and it's quite exciting to have some hidden gems amongst what you're doing. Okay, so there's our green. Again, it looks quite dark, but just give it time and that colour does lighten. So I've used that stamp, that stamp, that stamp, that stamp. Okay, so now we look at maybe the finer details a little bit more, and I'd like to, what would I like to do? Okay, I'm going to bring in this teeny tiny little floral stamp here, and I'm going to bring back the pool party. Now, if you stand back and look, those pink flowers are quite bold, got lots of orange. We can see the blue, but I'd like to pick out the blue a bit more. And so we're going to do a few specks of these little floral, flowers. Floral, oh look, I've smudged it. What am I like? I'm going to stick a random flower over in that corner because let's try and make it part of the design now. I'm such terror for smudging. I'm just going to make it part of the design. Pretend it was always supposed to be there. And this is where you can start thinking, oh, I've got a bit of a gap there. I want to start filling those gaps a little bit more. Not that there are a lot of gaps on here. Again, just take a step back and have a look as to what you're doing. Okay, so I'd like to use that same stamp. So I'm just going to clean it off my chamois. You just add water to this chamois, and it's ready to go with some more stamping. And then Ellie says she's not been attracted to wreaths so far, but so I'm just going in with this flower again just to fill in some of the centres to the pink flowers. With this you can chop it up. You don't have to keep it as a wreath, But quite often, by the time you spent doing a wreath, you're like, oh, I don't really want to chop it up. So we shall see. We'll see what this turns into. So that will do for that. So it just brings to life those big pink flowers. And then I'm going to come back with my petal pink. And again, we're working on the detail. So with this, known as the virus stamp, the stamp set, I'm going to go back into those petal pink flowers that we've done and just fill in those centres. There we go. And then using that second, it doesn't show up a lot, but there is a bit of detail where you can see that bit of stamping. And you can use this again by itself if you wanted to add a bit of more detail. Maybe put a few details around the orangey flowers, pinky flowers, petal pink flowers. Add a bit more detail in with that. Oh, Shirley, you're so kind. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your super chats. It's so kind of you. Right. So, more detail. I'd like to add the, I'm going to call this like it looks like a bit like a raspberry or that kind of thing. So again, stepping back, I can see lots of yellow. We've added more blue. We've got plenty of green, and we're now going to come back with the Blushing Bride, and with our, make sure that is a hair and nothing else, not a smudge. With the berry type one, and I'm just going to add some more. Now you can do this with any stamp set. You can create whatever wreath you'd like, and I will show you one that I've done before, or two. I'll show you the ones that I've done before. Remind me. So remember, if you use up that ink on your stamp and do that second generation stamping, you get just that nice hidden detail in your wreath. It just gives you that depth. Okay, still managing to be quite round, which I'm quite proud of. I think I'm coming to an end. I think that was all the ones. I'm going to bring in my cheat sheet to show you. There you go. It's not too different, is it? Just checking if I've missed anything out. Now, I'd wished after, this is just copy paper, but I kind of wish I did it on some Stampin' Up white card, but it's fine. That's what experiments are for. Now I'm tempted, excuse me. Now, so I'm just going to show you the stamp set so you can see. I'm tempted to come back in with that little one, and maybe we could just do a bit more yellow, but in those centre of the, yeah, it was rather quick because these stamps fill up a big space, so we're not doing lots and lots of detail like you would maybe with some of this, another type of stamp set. This is very, you know, bold, and you can fill in the space. So how long was that? That's not even 20 minutes. Look at that. I'm thinking of stamping the word happy in the middle, but I kind of did want to chop it up as well, so oh, thank you, Mindy. Mindy says the colours are exquisite. I tend to shy away from pastels. They're not my first go-to colours. I tend to go to the brights and the more jewel tones, but I've been inspired by a customer of mine who used quite a few pastels recently, and I thought, oh, I think I need to get into pastels. Now, what was I going to show you just then? My mind's gone blank. Oh yes, so my other wreaths, and this is another quick play. So you know what I said about cutting down to an 8x8 size? This is actually, yes, I think this is 8x8, and I was just experimenting. My first experimenting with the a wreath on grey. I mean, you don't have to stamp on white, and I thought, well, I'm going to add a splash of colour, so that's got some Coastal Cabana in it. And then I'll show you the other two that I have done, and I've not been brave enough to chop them. And the second one, you'll see why. So this one, Ruth did an online class on one of the demonstrator websites. So this was my very first attempt at it, following her lead on that demonstration. And then this one, I followed a class that I attended a class that she was doing, which I love, and this one obviously took time because I did lots of colouring in. So yeah, I do like this one, and this is definitely not going to get chopped up because I really like the depth in this. But just goes to show, I'm just going to show you that different stamp sets can create completely different things. Now, because that time's gone really speedily, I'm tempted to grab out another stamp set and give it another go. So if you want to stick around, I'm tempted to try it with another stamp set and some different colours. So let me just put those down a second. Give these a quick wipe and pack them away. Each one's better than the last. That's kind, thank you. So yeah, you kind of improve as you go along a lot of the time. Yes, one more please, people say. Cool, yeah, I'll give it another go. I'm just gonna free up some blocks. So thank you so much for watching along. Oi, 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 what's happening here, she says. Is she like, I thought Esther was getting off now, I was gonna go on. Guess who's here, folks? Guess who's here? That be Ruth. So like I said at the beginning, and I'll say it again, Ruth is my inspiration for these beautiful wreaths. And, you know, credit where credit is due. I think, you know, she makes us think about our stamps in different ways. And I like to stretch my stamps too. It's something that I like to encourage people to do. Don't just look at your stamps as stamps, look at them as shapes and, you know, what can they do for you? How can you turn them into something more? Give it a go, please. I came late to somebody. So, Ruth, if you're okay for me to hang on, which I'm sure you will be, because you normally come on later than this, I'm going to do another one. And I'm this time Art Gallery. It's going to be my friend. I might combine the two. I'm just going to see because I've not experimented with this one. And I'm thinking some nice rich tones. So in my head, let's just get that aside a minute and grab out some nice, well, they're all nice colours, but you know what I mean. So for me, Pretty Peacock, colours like, my Blackberry Bliss is a little bit odd, but I might try and use it. Oh, should we chuck in some real red? Maybe a crushed curry. Maybe. Oh, let's just do those colours. Let's not overwhelm the colour selection because it might overwhelm me if I'm not careful. Do grey again, says Claire. Well, Claire, did you see? Well, I've done grey on that wreath, so I wanted to do something with that something that I really like. You know, sometimes it's quite nice to just stamp something you really like. Now, this keeps sticking to me, and I am tempted to use this in my work, so it might make an appearance. Let's have a look. Okay, so again, some nice big bold images in here, so hopefully this won't take ages and ages. And the Blackberry Bliss is calling me. I'm just thinking if I should do a real red and then the Blackberry Bliss. Okay, change of plan. I'm going to do real red, I think. Oh, hi Paula, welcome. Oh, Ellie had her first go with this one today. Okay, so I'm thinking stamping in this colour and going over with the blackberry brush. So let's just do it. Sometimes you've got to tell yourself, let's just do it. Don't worry too much about that comfort zone of yours and just give it a go. So I tend not to have one in the centre, but let's slightly offset it. I'm going to start creating our circle. Now give it a good press and give a chance of that ink to adhere. I think I've got something on here, yes. Can't go wrong with red. Well, red is a very bold colour, so you kind of got to be a little bit careful with it. I'm going to leave that like that. Let's just give this a wipe off. If it stains too much. And then come in with Blackberry Bliss. I might add colours as I go along, I'm just going to see. I'm going to add that on top. I might even just offset it a little bit to the side there. Ooh. I think I need a mat under my surface. I thought I could get away with it, but yes, a lot of pretty florals in this stamp set. I'm going to try my hardest not to smudge. Now, actually, I might come back with the purples because yeah, let's do that. Come back with the purples. And add a bit more to the mix. I'm just going to ink it up, but not ink up the leaf. And start trying to splay out a little bit from my design. Let's tuck him in a little bit here. Okie doke. Now I know I've got gaps, I know, I can see them. But just hold on, we're not done yet. I'm going to start filling in with some more colour. Go in with this lovely orangey flower here. Now, just because the flower dictates that it's got like a flat side to it, doesn't mean that you can't move the stamp around and do things with it, especially in this kind of stamping where you're overlapping it a bit. Claire's asking me how I'm liking the flowers. I'm borrowing the stamp set from her. So yeah, it's nice to be able to just have a play, see what they do. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of a funny shape going on here because this one I tucked inside, do you remember? So I'm just going to come out a bit and try and add some florals coming inwards a bit on my picture so it doesn't look so stuck. It's nice, it's just doing something like this, you've got the freedom of stamping. I know that might sound odd, but just to be able to just stamp to your heart's content. And the great thing is, the more I'm stamping, the lighter the shades are getting. So what started off out as orange is lightening up with that colour. Oh, hi Navarana, nice to see you. So bringing on some more. This is like a filler that can go on top of some of the stamps, but again, you can use it by itself. The cards and one sheet wonders are beautiful that you've created. Thank you, Claire. Oh, thank you, Shirley. I'll just read out the comments because I don't always show up. Totally love watching this technique. Kay, sorry I'm late. I fell asleep. That's okay. You obviously needed it, Kay. Just nice to see you now. So I'm going to use these as a bit more of a spiky, you know, not spiky, just a bit of an arrangement. Having some coming out and in from the wreath. It's nice and autumnal. I feel like it needs something over here. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, it is quite easy to kind of, and I'm guilty, I must admit, of shouting at the screen going, up there a bit, you missed a bit, this, what about that bit? But when you're actually doing it, stamping a wreath, you can't always see the bits. Now, I'm looking in the screen and I can see that there are definitely bits that need working on, but remember that, you know, there is more to it. It's not just, this is not the finished product yet, she says. Okay, so what have I got left? I've got the pretty peacock left, and I'm wondering whether to introduce maybe, I wonder whether to use different leaves, but let's use the leaves that are in the, oh, I've got the leaf at the bottom of there as well. Okay, let's use the leaf in the set initially. And we'll try and create some more roundness to our, a little bit tricky because I'm trying to ink just the one leaf. Oh, I love these colours together. Just by having a few leaves, okay, my stems are getting in the way a little bit. Been a bit lazy and I can't bother to wipe them off. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Oh, missed a bit. I think there must be something on the table. Blame it on that. See, if this isn't quite symmetrical, this is the sort of thing, pardon me, that I could cut up and wouldn't feel so bad about cutting. Mm. I think it's where my table extends a bit. Okay, let's have a little think. Still want to add some more of this colour. I'm going to stick to this stamp set and come back to this stamp by adding it inside where there's some gaps amongst the purple to try and tie in that lovely pretty peacock colour a bit more. Okay, stepping back again. So I've gone from spring to autumn, I think. Okay, I think I'm nearly there. And I managed to stick to one stamp set. Dots, said Ellie. I like those leaves, said Ellie. You always think of a wreath at Christmas, but with colours it's lovely and you have completely changed it, says Linda. Thank you. I love these colours. No, Navarana says this is definitely my favourite of the current stamp sets. Yeah, it's very artsy. Very tempted to add some stenciling. Just thinking the dragonflies might look pretty. The thing is, you know, you can cut this down and do things with it. You know, turn them into cards and things. So, but after I've made a wreath, I'm like, I don't actually want to cut it. I like it how it is. So if I were to add dots, let's think, I would go pretty peacock. And I'm going to add, oh, sorry, my back is a little bit stiff. Add a little bit. That's interesting. So Claire's liking the bold colours. Okay, just do a little bit of. I think, you know, dots particularly would help with this kind of style of artsy. So the pen I'm using is a alcohol marker. These are called Stampin blends. I'm using the same colour that I've used for the leaves and the flowers. Leave the stenciling till you've cut it up. Yes. Yep, I could add dragonflies. So I resisted not putting dots on the other one, but I like this. Oh dear. See, I think I'm more tempted to keep this one. And I would chop this one up. Now I feel that this could do with dots. Look at the difference, just different colours. Well, it's different stamp sets as well. But I like it. I like it. So, I can't believe it. That's 40 minutes. 2 wreaths, 40 minutes. Move over, Ruth. No, I'm really joking. Claire always forgets to try the pens. I really need to try it. Always. You're worried that you'll ruin it. How can you ruin it by putting dots on? You can only enhance a piece of work with dots because it just adds movement. It just brings it to life by having those dots. So go choose your favourite colours. You know, I think if you're a bit scared to know where to start, 1, choose your favourite colours. 2, start off small. 3, choose a stamp that you're comfortable with lots of, you know, particularly with this kind of thing, you know, florals and things would work well. When you splatter the blending marker, does it leave large and small dots? Great question. Thank you for that question. It does depend how close you stamp on your work and how inky your pen is. I would say the closer you work, the bigger the dots, I think. Should we prove that theory? Thank you, Ruth. Wrong side. So the other thing is that you have to use the brush. The brush nib is a bit more receptive. But I think I've got a feeling that I was hitting it quite hard, so I've created quite a... It does depend on how inky it is, but the harder you hit it, the more ink that's going to come out. So please don't. I know that some people do flick their brush nib against the lid, which can do, and which has been done with the Stampin' White markers, but it does make the end of your nib very furry and unusable sometimes for colouring in. So please do. I find knocking it over a hard block or another pen is a good way to go. So I think I'm done for the night. I need to just work out how I'm going to cut this down, but maybe I can come back another time and just create some quick and easy cards with you with that. Ellie says I'd probably drop the pen if I tried that. Well, you don't know unless you give it a go. Maybe splatter first, stamp after. So I know which one I like, but by all means you can vote for your fave. We'll call that number 1 and number 2. And I'm just going to move these stamps before I get ink everywhere. Thank you for your company. If you are interested in shopping with me online with these stamp sets and products like this paper and the inks, then you can shop at my online shop. You can follow me over on Facebook. I'm on Pinterest, Instagram. I'm on as Stampin Star Creations with Esther. I need to maybe update my little doodah. Yes, if you're in the UK, France, Germany, Austria or the Netherlands, I'm happy to send you out a free catalogue. If you actually like a paper catalogue, so do get in touch. My email address should be in the description below. So let's just have a quick catch up on the old comments. Number 2, would definitely like to see the cards. Right, okay. So I think I'll definitely chop this one up as a card. And we did some, I've done some one sheet wonders. Oh, it's gonna... This one I've done before that I need... Oh, Carol, thank you, lovely. Thank you so much. This is one I did a little while ago. Here's one I did last week as well, which was inspired by my curtains with the same stamp set that we've used on that one. So it just goes to show you what a completely different look you can get from stamps and colours. So sorry, just quickly catching up on your messages. Number 2, Claire likes the pastels, love them both, but 2 is my favourite. 2, 2, 1, love them both, but 2 is stunning. Truly love both, but 2 knocks me out in a good way, says Paula. Spring and fall, yes, Ruth Isaacs, indeed. Number 2, thank you. There's my email address that Michaela's popped up, thank you. Thanks again, off to mop the floor now, says Jan. No worries, please do stick around because my sister, who's going to pop up some emojis now for me over at Artful Stamping, is going live at some point tonight. I'm just going to turn the camera around to speak to you. Here I am. Thank you so much, ladies and gents. I'm usually here this time every Tuesday, unless something pops up, which is 9 o'clock UK time, or GMT, not just exclusive to the UK. And I'm on Facebook, usually if I can, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday also. If I am around, I usually try and warn you if I know that I'm not. And that's all from me, folks. Take care and have a good evening and give it a go. Please share your inspired work on our pages. My own page is SSC Inspired and Shared. Maybe you're inspired by the colours or something that I've done on my YouTube channel, then please share it there on Facebook if you're on Facebook. If you've been inspired to do one sheet wonders or wreath stamping like this, please head over to Artful Stampin Space on Facebook, which is my sister's group. Take care. Do subscribe to catch me again. Hit the bell button and the all notification button to follow those lives and videos. Lovely to have your company. Thank you so much. Good night. Take care and God bless. Lots of love. Until next time. Thank you so much, you super chatters. Much appreciated. Bye. Thumbs up, always appreciated. Got 22 already. It'd be amazing if we can get up to 30. Just saying. Love yous. Bye bye now.